Hi and welcome to this Adobe Illustrator tutorial for complete beginner. Before we dive into it, I just want to say that I also started using Adobe Illustrator like a week ago, so take this as an advice from a beginner to a complete beginner. Does that make sense? So let's dive right into it. If you are just opening your Illustrator for the first time, this is the welcome page. This is the home page that you meet. And this, what you are seeing here is because I have done a little bit of small designs with Illustrator. That's why they are there. But this is what you get to see. And we are not here to talk about the home page and the layout. We'll just get right into all the basic tools, and that's what we want to do. So click on File, New File. Let's just go with this 1920. Then you create, you wait for it to load. And Adobe Illustrator has how many sides? 1, 2, 3, 4. Like every other software, they just tend to have 4 basic sides or pages, or what should I call it? Or layouts. Okay, it has 4 layouts. Adobe Illustrator has 4 layouts, and we have where our toolbar is, where our properties panel is, and this top panel layouts. Just call it layout. This is top layout. The top layer, you would understand it better if you understand this toolbar layer. If you understand the toolbar layer, so let's get into the toolbar layer. Now, we have the selection tool. Our selection tool, like the name implies, is what you use to select your object in your artboard. What you use to move from one position to another. That's what your selection tool is. You can resize with it when you click on the edge. You can resize with it when you click on the edge. This is basically what our selection tool does. If you play with it, you would understand it. You can do whatever you want with it, basically. And then we have our direct selection tool. Now, we have selection tool and we have our direct selection tool. Now, the direct selection tool, what this does is, this is a square, and let's say we want to refine just one part, one angle from this square. We don't want whatever edit or transformation we are making to one edge to affect all other edges. That's when we use this direct selection tool. Now you click on that point where you want to adjust, and then you can simply adjust it. You use your direct selection tool to select particular points. That's basically what it is. And then it is still fun because you can select multiple, and then I love Adobe Illustrator. I love Illustrator. You can do this. You can select 3 and just this is so that's what our direct selection tool. That's what our direct selection tool is for. Now we have our pen tool. Use our pen tool to draw shapes. Now, one thing I want you to know is this pen tool. Hold on, let me clear this. And if you want to clear, you use the selection tool. Select whatever you want to select, and either you use your backspace or your delete on your keyboard. Either one works. So this pen tool. Now, if you are using the pen tool, there are 2 ways in which you can use it. If you are tracing a circle or something that has rounded shape, let's say you want to draw something that has rounded shape. Now, all you want to do is click and drag, click and drag, click and drag. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Let's do that again. Click and drag, click and drag, click and drag, click and drag. That's when you want to draw out something with rounded edges. Now, let me clear this. Now, if I want sharp edges, I just click. I just click, and however I click, it always gives me sharp edges. That's what our pen tool. Now, if you come to the pen tool, you will notice there's a small triangle underneath it. What you want to do is right click and it will give you the anchor point. When you click on the anchor point tool, whatever point you've drawn before or whatever points that you have on your artboard or your shape, you can use the anchor point tool to transform it however you like. And I before I forget, let me mention this. When you are using your pen tool, let's say you are drawing a square, except you join those points, the pen tool, if you notice when you are using the pen tool, there is a line that is always attached to it. Except you are joining those points together. If you are not, let's say this is what I need. If you are not joining it, this line will be there. There's one way to remove this line, and you just press escape on your keyboard. When you have this line, you just press escape on your keyboard, and that is gone. So that is basically it for the pen tool and the anchor tool. Now we have this curvature tool. The curvature tool is almost like the pen tool, but I like the curvature tool more than the pen tool. I'll explain. Now, using this curvature tool can also be in two ways, just like the pen tool. You can use it to make almost perfect. Sometimes it can be very perfect circle, and you can use it to make perfect square. Now, how did I get this and this with my curvature tool? With my curvature tool. Now, if you want sharp edges with the curvature tool, you double click. I mean, if let's say we are drawing our triangle, you click here, you click here, you have to double click here. If you don't double click, if you hold on, now we want to draw a triangle. You click here, you click here. If you don't double click for it to know that okay, what I am trying to draw is something that has a sharp edge, by itself it will make it rounded. But that is not even the problem. I mean, the more you use it, the more you understand it. That is not even a problem. Let's say we have this shape. We can still go back to every point and double click, and there we have our triangle. Now coming back to this circle that we have here. I can convert this to give it sharp edges. And that is basically what the curvature tool does. Now, if you are imagining how I'm zooming in and out, you just use your Alt and your mouse to scroll in and out. That's to zoom in and zoom out. And if you want to bring out this hand to adjust positioning, you press your space, you hold your space bar, and so that is that for the curvature tool. Now we have our shape tool. Now you can get any shape, basically. You can get any shape from your Adobe Illustrator, but there are five basic ones that they will present to you. That is your rectangle, your ellipse, your polygon tool, your star tool, and your line. Now, I think this rectangle is self-explanatory. You get a rectangle. If you want it to be a perfect square, if you want to get a perfect square, you hold your shift while drawing it. While drawing your square, you get a perfect square, or your rectangle. You understand? You hold shift to get a perfect. All the lines will be the same dimension. Now, if your ellipse is one circle or oval, or you know what your ellipse is, but if you want it to be a perfect circle too, hold shift, and that gives you your perfect circle. Now, polygon. I don't think there's like a limit. Okay, there should be. I don't think there is a limit to how many polygon. I don't know, but depending on what polygon you need, from triangle to pentagon to hexagon to decagon, whatever number you need, so long you know the number of sides you want, what you just do is you click once, and if it is a triangle you want, you reduce the number of sides to 3 and you have your triangle. If it is a pentagon, pentagon is 5 sides, you click once and then adjust the number of sides to 5, and then you have your pentagon. If it is a decagon you click once, increase the number of sides to 10, and you have what you need. So that is for the polygon tool. And for the star tool, just like every other thing, you can click once, number of sides you want on your star. Let's say I want 15 sides on my star. I click OK, and this is it. I have my star with 15 sides. If I click once, I say okay, I want a star with 6 sides. It will give me exactly what I want. Now, your line tool. Your line tool is basically one of the things you use the most. Your line, your rectangle, and your ellipse. They are basically one of the things I have been using this past week. I have been using them a lot. Now, your line tool, same way, if you want a perfectly straight line, you hold your shift. Now, there's more to the line tool, because I discovered on my own that there are angles you can use. For instance, let's say I want this line to be at perfect 45 degree. I just hold my shift and put it almost at where you think is 45, and it will snap rather to the angle. Let's say I want it at, it should be minus 90. Okay, 270. It will just take it to where you think is almost the angle where you want, and it will. Now it only clips to, how do I explain it? It only clips horizontally and vertically. So you cannot just get a random 38 degree. There's also a section for it where you can do it. That's in the properties panel. There's also a section where you can angle it to be whatever you want. Now that is for your line. That is for your line tool. I think that's all for it. And then we have our brush, paintbrush tool. Basically, just your paintbrush tool. Just there's a lot to it too. There's a lot to your paintbrush tool, but I will just explain it like in the simplest way, because I myself I'm also getting to learn about it. So the paintbrush tool is basically like a paintbrush. What you do is you draw, and it tries to soften the line for you. When you double click on it, you see it tries to smoothen the line for you. That's one of the things I love about it. So you can actually do freehand sketch with Illustrator and be almost perfect. Now, this blob brush tool, I have never used it, so I really have not even bothered to check about it before. Then we have your pencil tool. Pencil tool, just like your brush tool, does what the pencil is supposed to do. Let me sign my signature here. So there you have it for your pencil tool. And don't forget to delete whatever you want. You just need to select it and press backspace or delete on your keyboard. Let's talk about the text tool. Now, the text tool, we can use the text tool in this particular text tool. We can use it in two ways. When you click, hold on, let me increase the size. So you can, just the way the text tool is, basically it explains itself. That is what it is. And this is one. And you can also click and drag, and then it creates like this binding box where everything you text would stay within the box. Everything is going to stay inside the box. We can adjust this here to bring out the full text. Everything is going to stay inside the box. Now, this is for your text tool. This particular tool, where you have your rotate scale tool, reflect tool, and share tool, as a beginner, I have not actually used it. I've not used it. Now, why I'm saying I've not used it is because everything I can do here, I can just simply do it with my selection tool. Let me show you. Let me show you what I'm saying. If I have this, let's say I have this perfect square now, and I want to rotate it. After selecting my selection tool, I can just come to the bottom of it here. And when you're at the bottom, you will notice this rounded corner. There's this double-edged arrow. There's this double-edged arrow that has this curved bottom. You would notice there. I can just hold my shift, and it will basically rotate it for me. And if I don't hold my shift too, I can as well rotate. I don't know if you understand. So I don't go near that one. I'm not saying it is not a useful tool. It is very useful, but I don't see it. Now, to scale, I can just hold down any of the edge there and scale it however I want. So I really don't see the need for me going there. It is a very useful tool, but I don't see the need for me going there. Now, that is that. We have our eraser tool. Now, this is where it becomes crazy. Our eraser tool. We have our eraser tool. If I click on my eraser tool, hold on, I want to make it rounded. I used it for something. That's why you can see it is the way it is. This is the default. This is how it comes. I can use it to erase part of my shape. It is very, very destructive. It is destructive. So you have to know what you are doing to actually use it. But it is very, very destructive. It is a very, very useful tool, but it is very, very destructive. And whenever I use the eraser tool, I get left with all these small dots. That's their points, and they can really mess up your design. But it is a very, very useful tool. You can use it to make designs like this. Just it is a very useful tool. Now this is the eraser tool. Now underneath the eraser tool we have our scissors tool. Just like the name implies, scissors. Now, just like the name implies, scissors. Use it to cut. Use it to cut between the shape. You see, it just gives like that scissors kind of vibe. So that is that for I don't need to. Now we have our shape builder tool. The shape builder tool is the best tool you will see here. Take it from me, any day, anytime. The shape builder tool is one of the best things you would see on here. Now, okay, this this is what we can do with our shape builder tool. This tool is one of the best, is the best tool. That's the best tool I would even say we have. Now I have this rough sketch of letter A, and if I cannot submit this as my letter A, so how do I refine it? How do I refine it? I select all the shape, all the component of the letter A that I want to form. Then I come to my shape builder tool. Then very easy, you just click and you drag through, and you see it will clear whatever is in between and merge it to the main shape of what you want. I don't know if you are understanding, if you are understanding this thing. Look at this. Just click and drag, click and drag, click and drag. Now for these ones that are outside, if I don't want them, if you want to delete, what I want to do is hold in my alt button. Now if you notice, your mouse will change from plus. After holding your alt, it will change to minus. Now if you click and drag on any line or any shape, that when you are holding your alt, the line you are deleting it automatically. So you can see like this, like this, like this. I can still hold it and do this for this. I can hold it and do this for this. And if I want this, I can just, and we have our letter A. See, if I don't think there's a best way to explain the shape builder tool except you try it by yourself. When you try it by yourself, you get to understand what the shape builder tool does, and it is a very, 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 very nice tool. One of the best, if not the best. So moving on from the shape builder tool, we have our gradient. Now when you click on this gradient is I don't want to talk about the properties panel now. I want it to be a later section, but if we want to talk about gradient, we would have to talk about the properties panel. So let's just go. When you are on the gradient, let's say you have this shape that you already designed and whatnot. Hold on. I think we can still modify this, our letter A. and just merge this and this together. So we have like the whole blocks to be you understand. So this gradient now, when you come to your properties panel, which is at the right side of your computer, you would see under FX you would see gradient, the type. Now it depends on what you want. We have linear gradient, we have radial gradient, and we have freeform. Most of the time, not most of the time, I'm also a beginner, so what I use basically is the linear and the radial. For now, I know with time I would come to the freeform, but this linear and radial, when you click on the linear, it gives you a straight line gradient. That is one color at the other side, one color at the other side. When you have a straight line, one edge of the line has a color, the other has another color, and usually it is black and white. That's like the default. Now you can resize this however you want, wherever you want. Just click and hold it and drag it. If you want it outside, just at the edge here, click, drag and hold it. If you want it here, click. It is just that form. And you can actually customize your gradient, but that is for another time. Maybe I am going to make another video to talk extensively about it, but I'm just doing this like basic introduction to the tools, so you get to know what we are using and what we are doing. So that is that for the gradient tool. So you see our A is looking dark at the top and light at the bottom. Now we have our dimension. I've not really gone into this dimension, but what I know it is for measuring. See, it is for measuring the point of, like, from one point to another, just the way your ruler works, but it is to measure the point. And then if you come here, you would see it has its own toolbar. This is for angle, this is for radial dimension, this is for angular dimension, this is for angle, this is for that the linear. So you just get to play with it the way you want. Now this eyedropper tool, what the eyedropper tool does is, you know what eyedropper is? It just is to select color. Let's say I have another color that I want my A to be. I want my A to be another color. Let's say I want it to be color white. I can just use my eyedropper to go to wherever there's white and click on it, and it will convert the whole thing to white. It is just that easy. Now the width. This is another very interesting tool. The width tool is also one of my favorites because, like the name implies, you can use it to increase the width of a particular line. Look at this. You can use it to increase the width. This is being destructive. I don't know why it is being destructive, but you can use it to increase the width of it. See, we'll talk about all of this extensively. I just want to introduce you to what these tools and how they are being used. So the width tool, you can use it to extend. If you want it here, you can see it is very, very interesting. You can actually use the width tool to draw some kind of shapes depending on what you want. This is like the Wicked Queen from the shape of the Wicked Queen from Cinderella, or the witch from Cinderella or something. But you get the idea of the width tool. It is just that easy. The width tool, to change the width of So that is that. Then going down, we have the blend tool. Let's say we have two different shapes and we want to blend them together. Hold on. Let me size this one. Does not matter actually. Does not matter. Any whatever size it is, it will actually do the job. So we have two different shapes and we want to blend two of them together. So the blend tool, you select. Hold on. I like this blend tool because it is, I don't know, it is like one of my favorites too. It is one of my favorites too. Let's change this to yellow. So we have these four shapes and we want to blend them. We want to blend them together. Now, what we do is we select all of it and then we go to our blend tool that is directly underneath our eyedropper tool. Select the first one you want to blend. See, then it is, you see, it is creating that very nice and smooth gradient as you are going along. I love this tool. I love the blend tool. Just know that the blend tool is a very, very useful tool and it is very, very nice, and yeah, it is one of those tools you would want to check out as a beginner. So what we have next is our artboard. I really have not used much of the artboard, but what I know from the artboard is you can use it to resize the shape of your whatever you are doing, move it, and it is self-explanatory. So I don't use it. When I want to work, I do everything inside this particular artboard, and when I'm done, I just copy it, take it to a new place, and then do whatever. This is so my process of working is I open two files, and the first one would be where the whole coloring, building, and rough and everything would be. And then once I'm done, I just copy it and take it to the next file and paste it there. And then that's where I do the proper observation, what needs correction, and yeah. So that's basically what it is. And this artboard too, I know like Photoshop, you can use it to create another artboard to just help you rename your artboard, and it is basically that. It's simple, it is self-explanatory, understand. So delete all of this, we don't need them, and let's come back to our original artboard. Now, object on parts. I don't know about this object on part, but I know it is self-explanatory too, but I've never used it, so I am not even going to talk about it. So that's basically all the tools that, as a beginner, those are the things you should like pay close attention to. Now, okay, I think I'll just make a part 2 of this video because, bro. Okay, that's basically all you need to know about the tools from After Effects. The more you get to use them, the more you get to understand what they do and how they function and what they can do. And we did not talk about all of them because there are some that you might not use at all, except you want to do specific things. And some of those specific things, I'm sure if you look, you would still get solutions to them. Let's talk about the properties panel. I would not talk about it too much, but I would do like a little bit of introduction to it. This is just an introduction video, so there's no actually going in depth into it. But I will try to make another video to explain it. But let's get right into it. So the properties panel, let's give ourselves a very nice square or rectangle here. Let's make the fill black. Okay, no. Let's give ourselves a perfect rectangle. Now that we have our rectangle, what the properties panel does is, when you look to your right of your computer, you would see your properties panel. You would see your transform, the appearance, align, and then quick action. Now, we are only going to talk about the transform, appearance, and the align. And then we'll talk about, don't worry, we'll talk about the properties panel. So, the X and Y that you see there is just the positioning of your object in your artboard. If it is here, you see the values of X and Y will change. If you change the position, the values of X and Y will change. So there's no really need of going into depth analysis of in-depth analysis of what that X and Y is just a common, you understand it basically. So if you look at that same box, you will see W and H. What that means is your width and height. That's the width and height of your object. If I adjust this, you see that the height has reduced. The height has increased. If I adjust this, the width will reduce. And if I increase this, the width will. That's basically what it means. And then underneath it, you would see angle. What this is just your rotation. Just your rotation. Let's say I want it to be 45 degrees. You see, it will go 45 degrees. I want it to be in 90 degrees. Where's my shape? I accidentally clicked on delete. But I can undo it by just Ctrl Z. So if I want this to be 90, it will be 90, and that's what your angle is. And this flip vertically and horizontally, what they do is, I don't think you would understand them with a rectangle. So let's put this rectangle aside and let's build let's build a triangle. Let's build a triangle, give it a black fill. I will explain what your fill does later, but I just want to explain what the vertically and horizontally means. Now, let's give this an angle of 45 so that we'll use it to best explain the flip vertically and horizontally. Now, I have this like this, but my flip horizontally will do is, if I click on this flip, it will flip my shape. See, it flips it, it will flip it like mirroring it, but it will not make a copy. So it will just flip it the other way. If I want it to be flipped vertically, it does the same thing upside down, just left, right, up, down. So that's basically what we. So coming down, that's all we are going to talk about for that. Coming down to appearance. Appearance is where we get to transform the shape property like color, stroke, width, height, the stroke width, yes, the stroke width, the opacity. Now, when you see fill, you click on the box and you get this different option for different swatches, and this we'll talk about in the next video I am going to put out, I promise. So you can come to change the color of your shape, your text, whatever you want. You can come, there are a variety of colors, and when you see this shape that is shaped like this artist, there's this wood, or the shaped like I don't know what it is called, but artists use it to draw. If you click on it, it is called a color mixer. Here you can be able to use color codes. Color codes is something, is something that you cannot know it all, but you can you can, with time, you can get to be familiar with some of them. Like this CEO now, I've done a lot of things with this gray color, so I get to know, like if I just press CO and enter, it will give me this. So yeah, that's this for the fill. If we come to the stroke, we can also change the stroke color. Let's say we want our stroke color to, let's make it thicker, so we get to see whatever transformation we are making. I can make it, it is basically the same thing with your fill, but this, the fill is for just the stroke, you understand? So we get to do this. Now looking at this shape, sometimes you might not want sharp edges. You might not want sharp edges. You can go back to your curvature tool. You can go back to your curvature tool and just double click like we spoke about the other time. But there is a smarter way to do it too. Instead of going back to your curvature tool, let's say we are still here in our shape and we want to use from the stroke. From the stroke, you can just come to corners and boom, you have your rounded corners. It might not be as perfect as the one that one will give you, but you understand what I mean. It will still give you your rounded corners. So that is it. There are other options that we can actually explore, but this is what we are going to use for now. Now the opacity, we all know what opacity does. Just increase the brightness and the opacity, make it less opaque, make it more opaque, and that's basically it. Now we have what we call the pathfinder. Now let me explain what this does. Let's say I have this shape on this shape like this, and I want to unite this shape. I want to unite them. What I can do is just click on this, click to unite, and when I click on it, you see it combines the two shapes and makes them one. That's what it does basically. Another thing is click to minus. What this does is it minus it, the one that is on top, it will take it away from the one that is on. Let me make this make sense. Let me make this make sense. So we have this shape. I want this field to be black. I want the field to be black, and let's say I have an ellipse, and I don't want the ellipse to have any color. I want it to be transparent. Why is our stroke 20? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm just trying to explain. So I want this to be on this like this. Now, what this subtract will do, now if I click on this subtract, it will take away this circle from this triangle. It is just the way the name is, it will subtract itself from the layer that is underneath it. That is basically what it does. And then this becomes a whole new shape on its own. Let's do that again. If I have an ellipse, it is circle. I don't know why I'm beginning to call it ellipse too. The person I am learning from he calls it ellipse, so I don't want it to have any feel. So when I select these two and I click on minus, it will subtract it from it. But that's not what I want. Now let's this click to insert. What it does is wherever the two shapes intersect, the intercept, that's what it will leave and take out the rest. Now let me explain. Look at this shape now. This is our ellipse and our rectangle. If you notice, the place where they intersect is giving us this D. It's giving us the shape of D. It's giving us the shape of D. So when you have the two of them selected and you come to this intercept and you click on it, it will take out every other part and leave the intercept. That's simply what it does. And the other one is click to exclude. What this does is the opposite of what the intercept does. If the intercept leaves the the point at which they meet, the exclude would subtract the point at which they meet. I don't know if that makes sense. So now that we have the two listings selected, if we press exclude, see, it will take out that point at which they met. It is just that simple. It is just that simple. So I think that's basically everything you need to know about. This is everything you need to do to get you started with Adobe Illustrator. I'm also a learner, like I said. This is like my first month. I've barely done a month safe with Illustrator, so I just decided to put this out there. And if there's any question or anything you feel like you need to understand better and I did not do justice to it, you can please indicate like in the comment section, and I will try my possible best to explain it. And yeah, so basically that's all we have. Thank you for watching and have a blessed day.